We are no strangers to surprises from Apple. The company has shocked us before.
There it is, right there. I just take my finger and slide it across. All right, you want to see that again? Very thin. It's just like this.
The question is, what's next? What shocking thing could Apple introduce?
Now get ready for the iCar. What's your take on the resurgence of this Apple automobile rumor?
Just imagine Tim Cook taking the stage there before a live audience and introducing an Apple car.
We have confirmed from multiple sources that Apple is in discussions with Hyundai Kia to build an Apple car.
For years, automakers have been trying to integrate your phone into your car, and now it feels like this has been turned on its head. It's integrating your car essentially into your phone.
Rumors of an Apple car started in 2014, with more details flooding the news cycle in 2015.
We've seen this kind of reporting in the past with Apple, and then nothing happens.
If Apple does end up producing a car, it's not going to be easy. Take it from someone who knows a thing or two about starting a car company.
Elon Musk himself said it was harder than, launching a rocket. So, I mean, there it pretty much is.
It's important to say that while Tim Cook has confirmed that Apple is working on a driverless car, we don't know many details about it at all. During a shareholders meeting with Tim Cook in 2016, he said news about the car project will be, quote, like Christmas Eve for a while. Apple is one of the most valuable companies in the world, and it could become massively more valuable if it can make a splash in cars. The global auto and mobility market is worth about $10 trillion, compared to the measly $715 billion smartphone market.
The thought of Tesla and what Tesla had shown it could do gave people in Silicon Valley this idea that maybe building cars wasn't as hard as everybody always thought. There was this new hope that maybe new entrants could arrive, and that was going to be very bad for Detroit.
So, here's what we know so far and what we might be able to expect in the future from the Apple car. Reuters reported in December of 2020 that Apple was looking to start production of its car by 2024, but the vision of an automobile developed inside of Apple well before then. Steve Jobs was reportedly considering the idea back in 2008, but the auto industry was looking grim.
The big three are asking the federal government for between $7 and $18 billion each.
Bankruptcy at this point in time would be cataclysmic for the economy. I really believe that.
Besides, Apple had just launched the iPhone in 2007 and was on its way to redefining the smartphone and the Apple brand. Fast forward to 2015, and it turns out Apple reportedly already had hundreds of workers assigned to a secret project called Project Titan.
There was two things already going on. Google was working on a self-driving car, and Tesla, this small startup in Silicon Valley, was gaining more and more attention for its cars.
In the time since, Apple has made some interesting investments and partnerships. The company gave $1 billion to Chinese Uber competitor Didi Chuxing in 2016, which strengthened Apple's ties to the mobility industry and self-driving technology boom. Talent from BlackBerry, NASA, and others have been commissioned for the project. Even former Tesla employees have been courted to Project Titan, including former Tesla Autopilot, powertrain, mechanical design, firmware engineers, and global supply chain managers. That certainly raised some eyebrows. Musk called it the Tesla graveyard in 2015.
When Apple first got into this, a lot of people in the car business were really afraid that their lunch was about to get eaten.
The past 6 years of speculation have been a roller coaster. Apple's building a car, Apple's not building a car, Apple's building the guts of a car, and recently sources told CNBC that Apple will be manufacturing an autonomous car with Hyundai Kia in Georgia, and now that might be out too.
Pump the brakes, Korean car makers Hyundai and Kia saying they are not currently in talks with Apple to develop a car.
Quite a few years ago when it was Project Titan, it was so exciting and everyone was talking about it. Then it felt like it died off, and then it felt like it had gone through a few iterations of being resurrected, and then now I feel like all of a sudden everyone is talking about it.
Apple stock got a bump after Reuters reported Apple could launch its car by 2024. The stock jumped again on the heels of the news that Hyundai Kia could be partnering to produce the car in Georgia. Only we still don't have many clues at all about what it's going to be or what it's going to look like.
Tech companies are looking for the next screen in your life to make money off of, and the bet and the hope is that it's in the car.
Reports thus far have been speculation about an electronic vehicle with better battery technology, autonomous driving technology, and a signature Apple design.
Just a functional autonomous car is enough of a wow factor these days, particularly from a company that's not in automotive. You're not necessarily expecting Apple to come out with a vehicle.
Any new car company faces major challenges.
If you went back to 2015, there was a feeling that when Apple was getting involved, that this was going to happen immediately. What a lot of people in Silicon Valley have realized is that making cars is much harder than they thought.
Tesla is a rare example of how a newcomer can reimagine the slow-moving and exclusive auto industry.
If you go back to the 1960s, when Hyundai first came on the scene, since then, there's only been one other company that has become a mass market car maker, and that is Tesla.
But it took Tesla 17 years before it finally turned a sustained profit.
You're not just opening the Apple store and, walking up to the Genius Bar and ordering your car. It's probably not going to be like that. Or maybe it could, but it's going to take a lot of changes, I'd say, within the way we retail cars in this country.
Like Tesla, a new car company would face issues with financing the staggeringly expensive task of building an automobile manufacturing operation. Tesla has spent billions of dollars on its battery and car factories, and it plans to build many more. But we're comparing oranges to Apple. I mean, it's Apple. It's already got the brand recognition, the capital, and the safety net, perhaps more than any other company from any sector, from any country in the world. In its first fiscal quarter of 2021, iPhone and iPad sales pushed Apple's revenue to over $100 billion for the first time ever. And Apple's services business is doing well too. So it's got a pretty solid fallback plan if this whole car thing doesn't work out.
One of the benefits Apple would have is that it has a lot of money, and it has a green shoot, if you will, to do this. That said, one of the disadvantages that Apple has is that it doesn't have generations and generations of experience designing and building and selling cars.
Elon Musk said that Apple might have a harder time building a car than it did building a smartphone or a watch, saying, quote, "You can't just go to a supplier like Foxconn and say, build me a car." Funny thing is, Foxconn, Apple's main iPhone and iPad assembler, is now very much involved in the automotive industry, partnering with Chinese car manufacturer Zhejiang Geely.
We're going to tend to see a lot of mergers and a lot of joint partnerships of companies having to work together because it doesn't feel like one company can accomplish everything.
The future is more than just perhaps selling the metal that's on the wheels. It's also the value that's being created as those wheels turn, whether that's the data that the user has or potentially that ecosystem within the car. So there's value there to unlock. And car companies are saying, well, why are we going to give that to Apple? Why can't we do that?
Autonomous driving capabilities are looking to be a big part of the Apple car as well, a technology that is notoriously difficult to develop.
Manufacturing the cars, the distribution, that's the easy part. The hard part with self-driving, which is what they're aiming at, is getting the AI technology working to the point that you can put these cars on the road and not have them hit and kill people. And I don't think Apple's at that point right now.
Alphabet-owned Waymo says it has already logged millions of miles of driving on public roads to fine-tune its driverless cars. In 2020 alone, Waymo logged almost 629,000 miles in California, whereas Apple counted almost 19,000. And Waymo is already well on its way to launching its autonomous driving technology, having penned deals with the likes of Jaguar. And then there's the price. Not for Apple, for us. Apple is known for its pricey products. Apple computers have consistently been pricier than PCs. The iPhone X pushed the smartphone market into a new age of over $1,000 phones. What in the world would an Apple car cost?
The average transaction price for a new vehicle in this country is $40,000 as of December. So people are not spending small amounts. And when you think about the technology that's going to go into electrification and autonomous, it's going to make vehicles extremely expensive.
If you look at the average selling price of the iPhone in this most previous quarter, I believe one analyst was saying it's the highest they've ever seen it. And that is in large part because of the higher end phones, these $1,000 Pro models that they're selling And so Apple has done a very good job over the years of getting the high end of the market and then getting into the lower end of the market. The question is, what kind of car is Apple seeing the market for?
Apple has been a trendsetter for decades. Graphical interfaces on computers, portable music players, smartphones, smartwatches, earbuds. So its introduction to the world of cars could have a profound impact on the auto industry and the tech industry.
There are a lot of people doing the exact same thing that Apple is, but it is very noteworthy because in terms of financial resources and research and development, Apple has all of that in spades.
One of the most interesting things about this move from Apple is the huge amount of cash the company has. In Q1 of 2021, Apple had $195 billion on hand.
You know, for $40 billion, they could probably buy Ford and come out with the two iconic American brands partnering up for the 21st century, and it would be a home run for everybody, I bet.
I don't think Ford wants to be bought by Apple, but I think for Apple, it's really that idea of thinking about it differently and almost redesigning from scratch. I don't think that they want to go with another company that's already invested in this space. It's kind of like that radical redesign and rethinking about how you can make a product.
The rise of Silicon Valley in the car industry has made a lot of car companies say they need to be more aggressive in kind of developing car 2.0, if you will. Is Apple going to be a player, or are they ultimately going to decide that they don't have something that they want to offer that is going to be competitive?
In terms of, a cell phone, unless it can like teleport a human into where you are, it feels like there's not necessarily the possibility for, like you said, that wow factor, that like jaw-dropping moment. Whereas in transportation, I think the opportunity is ripe for all of a sudden a massive leap forward.
When Apple launched the iPhone, there were already several other companies making smartphones, but Apple made a product that was so unique that it changed the industry for more than a decade. If Apple can do the same thing with a car, it's probably going to succeed.
The car companies are just under siege, essentially. I mean, they're fighting for their own survival. If they don't do this, they will literally become extinct. So, in terms of what they do moving forward, it has to be, they really have to push the envelope.